Welcome to The Explainer. Let's start with a big question. What if everything you thought you knew about life, about death, about reality itself was about to completely change? Today, we are diving deep into this really fascinating vision of what's being called a golden age for humanity, and we're basing this on material from Waldemar Wierzycki. You see, the source material we're looking at today, it doesn't just ask this question. It pretty much presents it as something that's right around the corner. We're talking about a fundamental shift in, well, every single aspect of life as we know it. So what is this golden age, really? According to this text, it's not some tiny little adjustment. Nope. We're talking about a complete and total reboot of human existence. It's about moving away from all these systems of control and stepping into a reality of, total freedom. All right, let's get into the details. And we're going to start at the most personal level you can possibly imagine, your own body. And this vision, wow, it presents such a stark contrast. On one side, you've got what we deal with now, right? Sickness, disease, the whole aging process. But on the other side, it's a future of radical, spontaneous regeneration. A future where just being full of life, that's our default setting. So how does this happen? Well, the source gets into some really specific biological changes. It suggests that diseases could just vanish, like in a day. The aging process that we all just assume is a fact of life, it's supposed to reverse. And get this, our telomeres, those little protective caps on our DNA that get shorter as we get older, they'll actually start to lengthen again, basically restoring our DNA to its original perfect blueprint. And we're not just talking about feeling a bit younger for a few more years. No, this text is proposing a return to lifespans that, honestly, they sound like something out of a myth today. We're talking hundreds, maybe even thousands of years, kind of like what you read about in some of the most ancient stories. Okay, so our bodies are completely transformed. That's huge. But what about the world around us? Well, this vision doesn't stop with our personal health. It goes way beyond that, into the very structure of our society and our economy. A really central idea here is the total collapse of the financial system we have right now, the one based on debt. The text we're looking at actually calls it a form of energetic slavery, something designed to just drain us. And it even lays out how this could happen in a pretty clear four-step process. First, the old debt system just dissolves. Then everyone's basic needs are met. Think unconditional income. With that covered, we're finally free to spend our time, maybe just a few hours a week, doing what we actually love instead of just working to survive. And the final step, money just becomes obsolete because we'll be able to create what we need directly from our own consciousness. So we've covered the body, we've covered society, but honestly, the most profound changes described in this material, they're the ones that happen inside our own minds, inside human consciousness itself. Just look at this. This chart really shows a key claim from the source material. The idea is that right now we're only using a tiny fraction of our brain's potential, like 10 to 15%. It's like we have these artificial limiters on. But what's coming, it says, is the unlocking of that other 85 to 90%. Just imagine that. And all that restored brain power, it's not just so we can solve super complex math problems. It's about reactivating abilities we've forgotten we have. We're talking about things like telepathy, direct mind-to-mind communication, being able to literally see people's auras, and just understanding each other on a deep soul level, without all the guesswork. And here's the kicker. This means all those external things we look to for guidance, religions, gurus, you name it, they just become unnecessary. Why? Because every single person gets their own direct, personal, unfiltered connection to source, to universal wisdom. Your own intuition becomes your ultimate guide. So this incredible internal transformation, this awakening inside of us, it's mirrored by an equally massive transformation on the outside. It affects the entire planet and literally everything about how we live on it. This table really lays out the whole paradigm shift. Just look at the difference in every single category. The planet goes from polluted and exploited to healed and regenerated. Technology goes from being hidden and destructive to being open and life-serving. We move from being controlled by external governance to having individual sovereignty. And the very foundation of society shifts from fear and scarcity to love and abundance. It's a total flip. Okay, now here's an idea from the source material that's, it's pretty mind-bending. It suggests that all of our current ways of getting around, cars, planes, even our most advanced jets, they're all going to become totally obsolete, a thing of the past. So, how do we get around then? Well, according to this vision, instead of packing our physical bodies into, metal cans, we'll travel instantly, maybe through portals, or even crazier, by just moving our consciousness from one place to another. The entire universe suddenly opens up. When you put it all together, all these incredible changes lead to the core promise of this golden age. And this quote just says it all, really. You become a sovereign being. You're responsible for yourself, and you're actively co-creating your reality, all in perfect harmony with natural law. And that's where the source material leaves us, with this incredibly powerful thought to ponder. It stops just describing this vision and turns the question back on us. It makes you think. If every single limitation you've ever known, sickness, aging, lack of money, being controlled, if all of it just vanished, who would you become? What would you choose to be?